Hi, welcome to Insights into Consciousness. I'm your host, Anna Olsen, here on A1R Radio, the biggest, largest psychic network in the world. I am really excited today because I feel so much energy shifting around. There's a lot of planetary stuff going on, and I don't like saying the alignment of the planets because that's inaccurate, according to NASA. It's more like what's happening in space and how it affects us, the magnetic pull. I don't go into too much detail because that's boring for a lot of people. I just like to get straight to the point. There's a bunch of stuff, including the moon, in what we call Virgo. So that's going to affect everybody in certain ways. Now, I'm a Virgo, and for me, it's making me feel really powerful. I feel a lot of positive, empowering energy. I know that this is the time to start manifesting things, but it's still a time for any sign to manifest things. It's a good time to be very detailed about what you want to manifest, because if you manifest a relationship, but you don't manifest a really good, balanced, beautiful relationship, those things can be an issue. So if you get my drift, that's basically, something that you want to really put some detail into. If you would like, to attract a house, a big, beautiful house, you're going to want to attract it in the right neighborhood, and you're going to want to attract it when the market is just at the right place for you, etc. So you want to go down to the nitty-gritty last little detail when you're attracting things, especially when we're in Virgo, because every last little detail will be attracted to you. And this is where I like to really talk about sourcing things. We are very powerful beings. You are a very powerful being. I cannot reiterate this enough. I cannot say this clearly enough. We all have so much power just because we're humans with these amazing brains and these amazing abilities to create and think and to make our thoughts and our consciousness create a reality. So I would like to suggest something that's a little bit different than people are used to, and it's not something that people really usually open their minds to tonight. The power of consciousness is very it's so amazing. If you are to Google or to look up on YouTube, cloud clearing, have you ever attempted to do cloud clearing? You might just want to look at it and see if you can do it. That is the first step in understanding just how powerful your thoughts and your mind are. And I'm not going to go too far into it tonight, but if you Google it and you YouTube it, you'll see how to do it. And if you practice, I bet you'll be able to do it. Back to personal power and Virgo. So I really want to look at what we're sourcing. What are we sourcing in our lives? First off, what is your life? That is what I'd like to look into first. That's what I've been drawn to talk about tonight, is what is it that we are doing here? What is it that we are occupying in our lives, the energy around us? We know from this practice with readings and this sort of spirituality that we have an aura. What is an aura? An aura is our electromagnetic field, some will call it. It can be our life force that it basically controls our bodies. It's like our spirit controls our bodies, and then it emanates an energy field around our bodies, because that is basically our spirit peeking through our flesh. And that's one way to look at the aura. Another way to look at it is that is the space that we occupy on this planet, and that we will occupy as well another space when we move on to the next life. What we do here and what we learn here in our bodies, we will bring with us to the next life as a code, memory code in our spirit, our aura, our electromagnetic field. Einstein just told everybody so many times that he does believe we have a spirit that goes on, because energy doesn't just stop, and we are made of electricity, we're made of energy. The cells that split before making a fetus during creation are fueled, that split is fueled by an electrical current. We know that. We don't know where it comes from yet. That is yet to be revealed, but we know that we are not only created with energy and electricity, but we are also that in and of itself. So what is it that we are doing here? Well, one of the theories, one of the ways that people look at this is we are here to create. We are here to learn to create. It's sort of like a life laboratory where we're sent here to college, life college, and we're here to learn and grow and figure some things out on our own. So that's experientially the best way to learn. Can you think of a better way to learn other than experientially? We could, as a spirit, have like looked at a little screen and watch somebody else live their life and yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, I watched them do it, so now I know how it is. Yeah, not exactly. That's like watching TV and saying you know exactly what that person's life on the screen because you were watching. Not really. We need to be able to learn these things in an experiential way, feeling all these feelings, controlling this body, trying to figure out how to figure out what our emotions are about, why we're having them, how to control them, all these different things that life entails. So, I just want to go over that we are always sourcing something with our thoughts. So our head is like an antenna. Our head is like the top of an antenna, like the little ball at the top of an antenna. And that the antenna is our nervous system, our spine, all the way down to our tailbone. And we always talk about the chakras and all of that in the spine and the nervous system. It is has its own pulse, separate from your heart. We know that neurosurgeons know that. And that's because it's an antenna. It's its own system with its own fluids and everything. So when we are having a thought about what we want to create and we're making it really positive, science says, just like common sense and logic says, that is what we will create. When people are in a bad mood, they can even other people can feel it. So, it's about shifting. It's about no matter how your day is going to just shift and to not align with anybody else's bad energy. What if they're a great person and they're just having a bad day? Why let it go down into something that's horrible and makes your day horrible or your week horrible or your kids or your family's day horrible because it rubs off on them once you let it get you down. So it's about really taking control and understanding that we are creators of our own reality. We are creators of our own dream, which is also how not Eckhart Tolle, Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements, he calls it our dream. We all have our own dream, which is our life, and they're all different. They're all unique. So we get to control our space with our energy, with our thoughts. Okay, so then also, I wanted to really look at how some of the people who, I don't want to get too materialistic here because that's not what's important, but the people who have really sourced a lot of success in their life, whatever that means to them. There was a point in my life where I just wanted to stay home with my children. I didn't want to have to go to work full time. I didn't want to have to leave them, especially with, the situation that they were in at the time. And that was my main goal, was to be able to stay home with my children at least a majority or a good amount of the time. I wanted to be there for them. And, that was my goal. That was my ultimate success. And, somebody else may have looked at that and said, oh, well, you're at home with kids all day. And that's not what I would think would be successful. I would think you should be driving this car and you should have this house. And no, that wasn't what was important to me. My goal was to be able to stay home with my kids and just make sure we all have exactly what we need and nothing, not a whole lot more than that. That was my goal, just healthy food and a happy family. So if that's not somebody else's goal, that's okay. But that was the reality that I pulled into my life and that I sourced for me. And did I source that? Yes. And did I do a vision board? Yes. And I've made, I think, 5 vision boards now where you make goals, you put a bunch of pictures and words on this board and you make it happen. So now I've gone through, I think, 5 vision boards. And it just keeps getting more and more detailed and bigger. And so I just want to share with other people how we make that happen. We are powerful beings. You put your mind to it. You think about it regularly. You make it on the love and above scale. You think about it in a loving, peaceful way. It's going to be that way. So I also want to bring in the fact that we have revelatory synchronicities. Revelatory synchronicities, what is that? That is, let's say You ask a question. Some people pray and they ask, say you're praying about something and you're asking for a specific blessing, because we all have this abundance of blessings that we get to receive, but we need to ask for it and also work for it on our own. It's not usually just handed to us. So basically what we look at is, okay, so what is a revelatory synchronicity? A revelatory synchronicity is you ask for something and you are either shown a sign that it's coming, or it could just be that you are seeing signs to a lesson you need to learn. Some people just want to know, hey, God, are you real? Okay, well, this is one way that he will make himself known while still remaining anonymous. And that is a revelatory synchronicity. So I teach this to a lot of the people I do readings on and a lot of my coaching clients, the people that I work with, that we watch for signs. So, for instance, if you want to really get a message from the universe, it will be revealed in different ways. One of the ways that I've had this happen is through Lotus Flowers. And I am such a skeptic. It's funny because I'm a psychic medium, but I am such a skeptic that that makes my practice better, and it makes me better, to be honest. But whenever I have done basically like a question, or I want to sign on something, I will ask the universe, and it will usually come through in a way that I almost am in disbelief at how clear it was. I almost am like, okay, this is so obvious that this is what just happened, that there's no way I can deny it, because I am such a skeptic. So without going into too much detail, because some of them are very personal, Lotus Flowers was one of them. And those were a sign of my dad who had passed. So I definitely wanted to know, is my dad okay? Does he still see me? This was, years back, but I was represented, the Lotus Flower was represented to me as a sign of my father. So as I went through my days, I started noticing that Lotus Flowers were coming through in so many ways that it was unbelievable. Somebody I knew right off the bat, got a tattoo of a lotus flower. And then I was at work and I got the message that there was a lotus flower for somebody that I was doing a reading on. And lo and behold, they pull out a necklace on their neck that was a lotus flower design. It was just one thing after the other at the least expected time. And I wasn't making it happen. It was obviously being delivered to me. And that's how I knew. And there were other things too that had happened. So there are many other signs that I have, but this is a small example that you get these revelatory synchronicities, or somebody calls you at just the right time. So, I've had many times when the right person just happened to knock on my door. I have best friends right now whom literally just walked up to me or showed up at my front door and said, hi, I just wanted to, I didn't even know them before this. And they were just like, I just needed to come by and say hi. And I wanted to talk to you about this. And I've literally had people show up at my door and they were answers to prayers, or they were answers to the questions that I had at the time. People showing up at my door, revelatory synchronicities, talking about the things that we're deep in our hearts without even knowing each other. Revelatory synchronicity. These are the fruits of the Spirit. These are fruits of Spirit. These are the things that you watch out for, that you look for. When it happens, you accept it, you believe it, and you ask for another one. You ask for another sign, and it happens. I have so many days just full of these instances now, that life for me with these revelatory synchronicities, I feel like I'm getting so much more close to Spirit, and I feel angels, the angel realm. I feel that I'm getting closer and closer to Christ consciousness every single day through these revelatory synchronicities, because that's my focus. That's what I focus on. And this is what I pray about every day. So when we realize our own power and what we can create in our own lives and what we want, instead of asking for it or wishing for it, just hoping for it, we start to realize that we can make it happen, not just with what we do, but with how we think and what we attract to us in the interim. And that it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen if we can consistently, powerfully, faithfully believe in the things, the fruits of the Spirit, keep going, keep asking, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Do not lose hope. Understand that this is a process of believing, having faith, going with what you just got, following that, seeing what else you get. So with that, again, I want to remind you that this frequency should be love and above. When we are on the frequency of love and above, we want to get to a joyous frequency when we can feel joy. And most people don't feel joy all the time. It can be kind of a rare thing in this dimension, this life. But when people are really feeling joy, when they're sourcing these things that they want, then that's what these things, when they get these things, they will have a joyous air about them. So these things can show up in all these different ways. You know, there are people whom I've talked to who talk about, oh, you know, my friend, she sent me a gift because I was having a rough time, just at the right time. She opens the box and she could smell the smell of roses. And she asked her friend, did you put like a rose scent in the box? Because when I opened it, it smelled like roses. And her friend said, well, no, I actually didn't have roses anywhere around. But what I was thinking about at the time was, I wish that I could send her a big bouquet of roses, but I can't really afford it right now because the ones that she wanted to send were like, I don't know, $170 or something. So, I mean, if you think about the intention, it's what's important, and the intention that we have, you know, give yourself some credit. Don't say, oh, I couldn't do that. You know, you don't tell yourself, no, there's no way that'll happen. You know, it's more about saying, how can I make this happen? What do I have to do to source this? How can I be the creator of what I want in my life, and to follow through with that instead of trying to look at the doubt or the, well, what if, you know, none of that. It's about making a choice to source things in our lives. So, you know, our personal power, I believe that we are gods in training. That's my own belief. I feel like there was a brainwashing of the people over the years. I wouldn't even say through religion. I would say through specific churches, certain people with interesting intentions. You know, they were on their own life path, but there were too many people with a herd mentality. And they begin to say things like, oh, well, that must be evil. Or, oh, well, I'm not really familiar with this, so it must be of the devil. Or it must be of, you know, something really bad just because somebody at their church told them that. Or, you know, I would say go with your own discernment. What do you feel for yourself in your own experience? I really like to go for facts and even scientific base research, or just your own revelatory synchronicities where you know that it's aligned with love when you've had conversations with the divine, with whatever, you know, deity that you want to say that is. Everybody believes differently. Everyone believes differently, and that's okay. We don't have to separate ourselves out into good and bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of the research that we have in psychology, this is something that's practiced professionally in hospitals across the nation. And it's a fact that scientists do look for people splitting good and bad. People who a lot of the time when they're mentally ill or they're having some emotional problems or issues in their personal relationships, they split, meaning they can't say, oh, this person is good and bad. This person is good or this person is just bad. They can't see any sort of midway. They're kind of splitting somebody, or they're saying one day, oh, this person's good, and the next day, because they didn't do everything they liked, they'll say, oh, now this person's bad to me. They can't look at a person as a whole entity of good and bad combined, because nobody's perfect and everybody has something good in them. It's actually a mentality of brainwashing in some of the churches. I wouldn't even say religion, because religions, I think, are usually pretty darn good. Most are. And I think that there's more of a culture of people in a lot of the churches or, these congregations where they begin to tell people what to believe. They begin to tell people that they can't do certain things, they can't go certain places, that they are basically not able to think for themselves or experience it for themselves. And when they do that, they are telling them how to think. If somebody is telling you how to think or telling you how to live without you gaining that experience for yourself, and without you really putting that together on your own as your own personal belief through experience, then what happens is we're getting into cultism and brainwashing. That's why most of the psychologists or the people that I know who do therapy, they are so open to different belief systems. They have researched this. They understand it very well because they have researched the brain. They have researched human behavior, sociology, the things that make people tick. And they also do work with spirituality, but they're supposed to stay very, very neutral, but they hear about it all of the time in their practices. So I really just respect all of the psychology. I think that spirituality and the study of the brain are so very closely connected. So I think that what happens is people try to say, like, for instance, somebody who does readings, they're all bad. Somebody who deals with, tarot cards or whatever, they're all bad. They must all be evil. They must, and I think that the warning originally was to protect people in a church congregation or setting, probably because some people were having some bad experiences, because there are those out there who take advantage of people. There are good and evil no matter where you go. We go to a church, there's going to be good and evil people. We know that from lawsuits that are worldwide. In certain religions, there are definitely some issues that we've had with people who have been, a victim with abuse as children and things like that. And then they become mad at God, and that's not okay. So, we want to really look at our own experience, what we believe in and of our, own life experience. What do you believe? What do you think? What did you experience? Who are you drawn to? Can you be drawn to somebody who will give you a reading that's in the highest and greater good, that whatever it is that you align with, and it's less about trying to make an opinion about someone else's religion or spirituality or preachy, because I can't preach to someone else who basically I have no idea what their life experience has been like. I haven't lived in their skin. I haven't lived in their body. That's impossible for me to tell them that what they're doing is good or bad unless, it's obviously I've witnessed it obviously causing human suffering. That I feel is the only exception. And of course we can say something, but if you're telling somebody that they shouldn't do angel oracle readings, okay. I'd be really careful about the people who say hands down this is, false, or readings are false, or the, anything where people are trusting their own intuition, or that people are looking for their own journey, their own path as they see fit. And of course, we are compatible with people that align with where we are in our spiritual development. That's how we work. That's how, we attune to others and connect with others. So in addition, we connect with those who will give us the highest learning possible. So I just really feel like we need to be careful about telling other people that they're getting a reading and they're bad, or they're doing readings and that means that they're hands down, they're just bad people, or it's evil, or it's a bad entity or whatnot. And to try it for yourself, to experience these things for yourself with the good readers. Love and light is across the board from spirit. It is something that is universal, and it breaks all barriers of religion, race, ethnicity, male, female, masculine, feminine energy. It is just good, and it is for the highest and greater good. It doesn't discern against a race or a skin color. It doesn't. It's not racist. It's not sexist. It's not against any specific religion or person. It's all enveloping. It's all loving, and it's all kind. So I want to just warn that there are people who believe that readings are, all bad. And I would align with the fact that some are. Some people do take advantage of others. And the goal is to figure out how you feel and to discern in your own time with your own opinions, not with what someone told you, not with what someone suggested to you, or even their body language, or just or ignoring or leaving people out or that sort of thing. So the highest and greater good, it comes through at just the right time. It is very loving. It is very peaceful. That's how it feels. It is not angry. It is not judgmental. It is not wagging the finger at someone else. It just isn't. That is a negative energy of shaming, which is probably the worst of all of the negative, even under anger and hate. So I just want to leave that with you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I am hoping that if you're watching tonight and you have any questions, you'll get a hold of me. You can reach me at my website. It's on the bottom of the screen, AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com. That's AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com, ANNAOLSEN, intuitive.com. And there will be a contact page there and a little bit of information about me and what I do. So I have had a good time tonight just talking about sourcing. Remember that you're in your own space. You have your own practice energy in your own space. It's your space. It's not for anyone else to dictate or decide for you, and to use your own discernment and your own judgment on exactly what it is that you believe and what you experientially know for yourself. So have a great night, and I will see you next week here on A1R. I'm Anna Olsen, and I will see you later.